Hey, Sergeant Jim here. I figured I would talk about why police don't want to do their job a lot of times. And it's usually because of the administration. It's not that the cops are lazy. It's that the city, the administration, the sheriff, whoever's in charge is basically a piece of crap. And this is one of those cases that really highlights that example. I had a case one night where I was on the road patrol as a supervisor on the road as a road sergeant at night. And the county put out a call, a BOLO, be on the lookout for a car that was stolen during a carjacking. Some kind of little Isuzu SUV type thing. Anyway, I drove around for a few minutes and I spotted it. I got behind it and got a few other officers with me to pull him over to do a felony stop. And I lit him up. He kept going. But the guy didn't run at high speed or anything. He just kept driving. He proceeded to the next stop sign. He stopped. He used his turn signal. He turned. He kept going. He stopped at the next road. He turned, used his signal. He wasn't driving recklessly. He wasn't driving fast. And the call came out as a carjacking, a domestic violence carjacking where he forcibly removed this vehicle from his sister. And we're not supposed to chase people for non-violent things. So to me, this is a violent occurrence. And it's a domestic violence. We're required to make an arrest. We're required to act. So I got behind the car and I got more officers with me and we kind of followed him here and there. And the sheriff's office policy about the same as ours. They don't get involved in another agency's pursuit while we're still pursuing it. So they kind of stood on the sidelines, which was good. You know, they kept people out of our way. And I followed him outside the city to an area called Hontoon Island. And there's two roads that basically dead end at the St. Johns River. Each one has a cul-de-sac at the end of it. So once the guy got into that cul-de-sac, I knew there was nowhere he could go. So I stopped just short of it, with my car adjacent to a set of big brick mailboxes that they used to let people build on the sides of the road. You know, the kind that if you come by with a baseball bat and hit it, all you're going to do is break your arm. So anyway, I parked next to that so the guy could, drive through between me and it. And as he did, I threw stop sticks out the window and got two of the tires on his car. He kept going down the road about another 100 yards until he realized he was riding on the rims. And he just let the car drift off the road like into a little wooded patch and bumped up against a tree. It's kind of weird. So anyway, I pulled him behind him. I jumped out of the car, ran up to him, and the guy pulls out a big old knife, and he puts it up to his own throat. And he's yelling all kinds of suicidal, crazy stuff. And I could tell this guy obviously wasn't right. He stole his car from his sister. Now he's holding a knife to his throat. He just went on a 5-mile police pursuit at the speed limit, kind of like O.J. Simpson. So anyway, I took my ass bat and I smashed the window out of the car, and I reached in and grabbed him and snatched him out of the car by his head. He decided to drop the knife on the way out. I know it's kind of stupid, but, I didn't need to shoot the guy or anything. There's no reason to do all that. Anyway, I snatched the guy out of the car. He dropped the knife. I handcuffed him. We had the family come to recover the car. They had to come, get a wrecker to tow it off. They thanked us profusely for saving their loved one. They didn't want to see him die. They knew he was suicidal, but apparently they hadn't given that information to the sheriff's department, or if the sheriff's department didn't put it out on the BOLO for the stolen car. I don't know which. So anyway, they were very happy. They got their car back, their loved one's alive, no problem there. I got him back to the station, and the extensive number of hours it took to write up this report and get him booked in, the guy sobered up. Turned out he'd taken a bunch of Xanax or Valiums and antidepressant type things, went all suicidal and kind of lost his mind. He sobered up, and 4 or 5 hours later, when we were about to transport the guy, he's thanking us. So thank you very much for not killing me. I appreciate I was all messed up. I don't know what happened. I, got on all these drugs, whatever. He was a very nice guy, all polite and compliant and everything. So we took him off to jail for whatever charges the family had, signed on him initially with the sheriff's department for stealing the car. And, all was good until the administration got the report. And they decided to take offense to this report. Oh, how dare you do your job? So they decided to investigate me for what I just told you about, that I put the citizens at risk for following this car around at the speed limit that was, with a suicidal guy with the knife driving around in it, that was reported stolen during a domestic carjacking. So they decided they wanted to do something about this, and so they wrote me up for this, and then they had a big disciplinary hearing, and I refuted all of it, and I told them they were a bunch of idiots, and I was going to sue them and all that kind of stuff. And it goes to a big hearing at City Hall. The city had 2 attorneys there, some representative from the League of Cities, the chief of police was there, the deputy chief of police was there. They had a whole pile of them, and me. And the one of the attorneys was like, well, we know who it was. Why didn't you just let him go and we could arrest him later? And I told the guy, I said, are you an idiot? I said, we just don't let criminals drive off because they choose not to let us arrest them that day. I said, yeah, what am I going to do? Every time I go to arrest a crack dealer, hey, you're under arrest. Oh, excuse me, officer. I don't believe I'm going to let you arrest me today. And am I just going to let him go? No, that's not the criminal's choice to make. That's my decision as a supervisor and as a police officer to make. If I have the chance, the task is mine. I have to place that person under arrest. I have to protect the public. I can't just let these criminals run amok just because they decide they want to. And again, there was no problem here. The family was happy. The suspect was happy. I got their car back. I got him safely into custody. I didn't let him kill himself. I just snatched him through the window of a car, which he appreciated that I did that instead of shooting him. I mean, it was all good. But then the city wants to take me to, and they never even called me out for anything stupid like, putting myself in danger for grabbing a guy with a knife in his hand and dragging him out a window. They were more concerned about the pursuit and the using the stop sticks and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, they finally decided, well, we're just going to write you a letter of counseling because it doesn't count as a discipline, so I can't appeal it. So they counseled me and said, and it was something generic like, oh, we would just hope you make better and different decisions if this type of situation arises again. So it was pretty sad. But that's the kind of thing that happens to your police officers who actually do their job. There is no problem, and the administration wants to make it a problem just so they can show that they're in charge and they're in control and basically want to show you how big their dick is. So anyway, that's just one example of why a lot of cops don't want to do their job because they'll get stabbed in the back by the pussy administration. All right, have a good one.